People often say foreign policy is complicated, like chess, but with far higher stakes. But for Pakistan, it sometimes looks less like chess and more like rock, paper, scissors, except they always throw paper. Just ask the defense minister, Khawaja Asif, who once said Washington used Pakistan like toilet paper. Well, it seems the paper is back in circulation. Yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted the first meeting of what he calls his Board of Peace, a group he says is meant to rebuild Gaza, and guess who was seated right at the back? Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. To put that in perspective, the FIFA chief was seated ahead of him. One handles global football, the other carries the nuclear football, yet Pakistan's Prime Minister was placed behind him. Of course, Shehbaz Sharif wasn't about to waste the opportunity. He appeared to come with one clear objective: praise Donald Trump as much as possible. Cringe level? Not just max, perhaps pro max. Sharif thanked Trump for what he described as timely and very effective intervention in achieving a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, claiming it potentially averted massive loss of life. He even called Trump a man of peace and the savior of South Asia. Strong words, but what exactly did Trump save South Asia from? An alien invasion? A planet-killing asteroid? Trump himself offered his version. He once again claimed he personally mediated the India-Pakistan ceasefire, saying he threatened to halt trade deals and impose massive tariffs if both sides didn't step back. According to him, economic pressure did the trick. But here's the reality. Trump did not mediate the ceasefire. It was a bilateral decision. After Indian strikes on Pakistani military bases, Pakistan reached out for a ceasefire and India agreed. That's what unfolded last May. Yet Trump continues to claim credit. Interestingly, this comes at a sensitive moment. India and the United States have agreed to a trade deal in principle, with final details expected soon. A delegation from India is scheduled to visit Washington next week, aiming to finalize terms by mid-March. New Delhi appears focused on business, not theatrics. Pakistan's approach, however, has often emphasized optics and visibility. Meeting the US president is significant. Sharing a stage with him, even more so. But the sentiment didn't seem entirely mutual. At one point during the meeting, Trump asked Shehbaz Sharif to stand up, almost like calling on a student in class. Meanwhile, he mentioned speaking with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, saying Modi was watching the event. And directly in front of Sharif sat World Bank President Ajay Banga, perhaps a useful vantage point for discussing future loans. Jokes aside, what came out of the Board of Peace meeting? Senior U.S. officials outlined plans for Gaza reconstruction, and member countries pledged $7 billion in aid. For Trump, Gaza appears to be just the beginning. He envisions this board functioning alongside the United Nations, potentially as an alternative platform to legitimize his global initiatives. Would the United Nations have endorsed certain controversial operations? Probably not. But a body like this Board of Peace might. That seems to be the broader idea, creating a parallel structure that can generate its own legitimacy. India has not formally joined the Board of Peace. However, New Delhi did send an observer to the meeting, signaling cautious engagement. As long as Trump remains in office, this board may hold relevance. After that, it could very well fade into political footnotes. And speaking of political history, there was a time when the streets roared her name. Supporters climbed rooftops. It felt like history was repeating itself. Then came the flash, the explosion. Panic swallowed the cheers in seconds. Benazir Bhutto was gone, not voted out, not defeated, but assassinated. If you want the full story behind that assassination and the political tremors it caused, stay tuned right here on Veridox News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Veridox News for more in-depth global analysis.